Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, March 25th, 4:30 Eastern Time, and that means it's time for the weekly Believe Retreat social media stream. Francine, please roll the intro. Hello. Hey there, Francine, Julene.
Hello, how are you, Joanne?
I'm feeling fabulous. Thank you. So glad to be here with you.
I am too. But before we get started, everybody watching, shoot some good vibes to Heidi while she recovers from COVID. Ah,
Yes, beautiful. Yes, we can't forget our Heidelin. And so, Francine, it's just great to be here. The two of us, we're going to pull this together. I'm going to introduce our special guest. Now, the Believe Retreat is international because coming from French speaking Canada, just outside of the beautiful city of Montreal, is Carole Beauvais. She is a visual artist, she is a mother, a homeschooler, an entrepreneur. She promotes, celebrates, facilitates, and helps others to grow in their power of creativity. And so let's welcome Carole Beauvais. Woo! Bienvenue.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's such a pleasure. It's fun.
Thank you. It's so lovely to have you with us. And how about I get you started on an introductory question? Why don't you share with us, like when you're having your best day, what activities does that include?
Oh, it starts with I start from you wake up, it starts with meditation. So I can be completely aligned so I can start creating my day for myself, what I really want. And then after that, I get up and then I make sure my kids are up. And then basically then my agenda was done the night before, but I really get up and I try to have breakfast with my family together. Doesn't always look perfect, but that's one of the things. And then I go into creation mode in the morning. That's the first thing I do. So there's certain things depending on the day, because since I do homeschool, there's certain subjects that we do together as a whole, as a family. And sometimes people look at homeschooling means that we never get out of the house, but we're a very, very social family. So we do a lot of different family activities. So obviously it always looks the same, not the same, I mean, because it's not redundant.
Yes.
But I always make sure that I take a moment of creation, being aligned, and to have space for my business at the same time. So I have long, full days. I love it that way. I'm a project person, and just make sure it's kind of messy, but organized in that way.
A little bit like they call organized chaos.
Absolutely. It really does. And I wouldn't want it any other way, because you get your rushes from that. I like to create, I like to be in the really moment of it. I'm a very passionate person. So I love to be in whatever I'm doing, either it's homeschooling or my art or my business. I try to be 100% really be in that moment at that time. Yeah. Perfect.
I love
Thank you.
that. I love that. Now tell us, and what is the business that you're currently running?
I'm actually, so besides my art and as a homeschooler, I have an online business that I do, which is in the direct selling. So we have a website, And what I love about it, and we help with essential services, it's not a product. What I love about it is that we can help others uplift and really dream. I know you are in the believe, like that's like your whole thing. And that's one of the things I love because we're creators. And as artists and as individual, we get to help. I've noticed one thing. People, we tell our kids to dream, we tell our kids to create, but when we become adults, very often adults forget to dream. So this is a business that I get to help people to dream again to whatever else they want to create. And as artists, sometimes I really believe in diversifying your income, even though sometimes that's taboo as an artist because people think we should live and survive, live on the street if we have to. But where's our creativity like that? If we're in surviving mode, if we're not in creating mode. So for me to be able to build a business that we can have complete freedom to really be able to build exactly what we want, that's freedom. And that's really living a fully self-expressed life that we can really create from nothing. Yeah.
Okay, I've got to ask, how do you help people live in the moment and do have all this wonderful stuff you're talking about? Do you have a specific modality you use?
Modality? So
Or
I'm not sure.
do you
What do you
have
mean?
courses or any kind of a
Well,
specific way you do this?
no, so we're part of a community. So I'm part of a direct selling community. So we have a whole system put in place. So that's the beauty of it because I don't need to think of all the decision all by myself. So we basically are building a business within a business, and that's one of the beautiful things about it. So as an artist, I get to really, and the thing about the online business, it's a business that we get to create through your life once you have the training. So in life, we create, we share. So it's through your own life and everything else you're doing through your own network that you just get to share. And we do that, and we do meet, we give the training and the support, everything they need, either on Zoom, in person, live, or we work one on one together. Yes.
Lovely. So tell me about the homeschooling part. How long have you been doing it? How old are your kids and how did you come to that decision?
Well, I that's a very good question. So my daughter is 17 now, and we're super excited because in the fall she's attending Concordia University in creative writing. So she herself, I know both of you are performers, so she is a performer but a writer also. Like she's all about storytelling. That's exactly everything about herself. And I have my son that is going to be 15 on April 16th. So I've been homeschooling since for about 9 years now. The way it started, although I'm in Canada now, we were living in California at the time, and I did have a restaurant. And I was always wondering, I actually I'm an older person to have younger kids. Often the parents are a lot younger. And as an artist, I remember in university, Marina Abramovic, I always say her name wrong. I remember she was having one of those talks to us as students, and they were very much at the time. I don't know if that conversation is still true, but at the time when I was in university, they were really discouraging us to have a family. There was a whole big thing about if you want to be a real professional artist, you can't have a family. So that stayed with me, and art is my love. It's like if I stop doing it, it's like you're cutting my two arms. It's like part of my breathing, it's part of me. I have to create. But then I remember realizing at one point that I was realizing that if I didn't have kids, there would be another part of me that was also as important that I wouldn't fulfilled. And so I realized, what, I'm the creator. I'm to create the life that I want. And so I share all of this because I realized when I was homeschooled, I was going because we do exposition, we travel. I went, I'm in Canada. If I go to Art Basel for that weekend, how am I going to do it with the two kids? Well, my kids grew up in my studio. They really were part of it. My son would hold his pen like this at the beginning because he was used to painting with me. And so the funny thing is, I started in a traditional way because that's what I knew. But then when we were living in California, my daughter was taking a lot acting class, and part of the program were with professional actors that were working, and she couldn't work because of our visa, the type of visa we had. But she was amongst all of her friends were being homeschooled, so she asked me, and I told her, let me do my homework, let me find out more about it, because I didn't really know, and I had my fears that often people have. But
Sure.
when I opened up and I talked to several parents that were homeschooling, and I really found out what it could bring to our family, I really felt like a magical door just opened. And so we've been doing it since. And at the beginning, I was scared. I was afraid, like I didn't want to screw up my kid's life. And I am a pro education. Like I do love learning. Like I think you should be always life learners. But then I realized, let's try it 1 year, and after that, I never went back, and I couldn't see my life in either way, because I do believe that we get to create the life we want again. I'm all about having the freedom, and I got to give that to my kids also. So I find that being a homeschooler gives them a great opportunity to get to really learn who they are within everything else. Yes.
Oh, wonderful. And I want to just congratulate you on bringing your daughter from 8 years old, probably, right? 8 or 9 years old, to the
Yep.
point that she's going to complete high school and start college the fall. So that's a success. Your son is on his way. We love to celebrate those things here, and I'm so glad. And I may not have told you, but I homeschooled my children over a course of 4 years, and I switched states and made some changes. But I feel good because if I had to put them back into the public school system because of work, they were right on target where they should be with their grade. They never fell behind. I'm glad about that, and really, it helped us to bond as a family as they were learning, and so that's a beautiful thing, and you just can't take those things back,
No.
because that time they grow up so fast. So I'm so glad I had that opportunity, and my three sons are doing very well in life, and I think pouring into them and helping them to be independent thinkers. Um, I know that helps a lot. I'm so
It,
glad you're doing that.
yeah,
Okay.
And
it really
I have a
does.
I have a question as a non-parent and somebody who does children's programs. And my question is, we recognize that coming through school, once they get to the middle school, about fifth, sixth, seventh grade, they're starting to get these limiting beliefs. Like you said, I couldn't stop the art, even though everyone told me that, I shouldn't have a family and I shouldn't do this and I can't do that. That's a limiting belief.
Hmm.
So you raised your kids without the limiting beliefs that they would have got had they gone to a public school or even a private school. Do you have a message for parents whose kids are in school, how they could supplement the school to break the cycle of these limiting beliefs?
Well, I think it starts with the parents. So I think one of the thing is often the parents, it's doing the work for yourself, like to break that thing for yourself. And I think is sometimes as parents, I believe that we want the best for them, right? So then when we want the best for our kids, often one of what stops with the self beliefs often is fear and everything else that comes with it. And I think once we can acknowledge and be aware of that, and then just push it aside and say, I know why you're there, but you're not really important because I'm not in danger. And then you can really create. And then one of the things that absolutely I think is really wonderful for parents is just let them do their mistake and let them be independent and fall and have a lot of failure. but the most important thing is not follow through to keep up with the Joneses and everyone else, but to really see, help them find themselves. Who are they in this world? How can they contribute so they can be really fully self-expressed and dance in this world and really have fun in this world? And really, because living life and whatever you want to do is a game. It's a game of life, and if you really take a look like that, that it's a game and there's no like wrong way and it's just like you playing chess but having fun, because people forget to have fun, but first have fun at home and then have fun outside. And it doesn't have to look one way. It can look so many different ways, and we're lucky we live in the world that all the information is there, so we can just build whatever our life. And Joanna, like, I have to say that that's one of the things, because when we first started, we had a restaurant, and my husband at the time wouldn't see my kids for 4 or 5 days because they're working. And I know we're not the only families that were in that situation. Often people don't see each other, they don't communicate. Like a lot of like sisters and brothers don't get along, but they don't even know each other because they go to school, different thing. They don't spend time, really a lot of quality time together. And homeschooling allows you to do that. It allows you to have your meal together or whatever. We couldn't do it evening, so we did it in the morning, but we got to create it. And then my kids, they have such an incredible relationship because even though they're different age, because they got to spend time together and really get to know each other with respect of whoever was there. So I think that's one of the things, is really take time to let your kids discover themselves. I think that's a big thing, because then people wake up at 50 years old, and I think that's one of the midlife crises. Is like, who am I? Like, I don't even know who I am.
That is absolutely true. I always follow the, well, you need a good job, you need the security. So I joined the military and I stayed forever. And then when it came time to retire, it's like, oh, what do I do now?
Mm. Oh, I get it. I get it. And why did you join the military?
I joined the military because it was easier than paying for college and working full time.
I got it. I
Hey,
got it.
Uncle Sam can hook you up with a career path for sure.
That's a fact. If I stayed in Schaumburg, Illinois, working in the hardware store where I was head cashier, I would still be there. I
Wow.
learned how to be an aircraft electrician and I traveled the world because I recognized that there's more out there and I needed to see it. Of course, I was afraid, but I was more afraid of being stuck where I was. I was 17 years old and I'm like, there's got to be more to life than this.
Wow. Yes, that like my youngest joined the Marines so that he could have experiences. He's in active reserve right now, but definitely being getting past your fears. That was a good point you made, Francine. It's worse if you stay stuck in a rut and you don't see a way out for yourself than it is to take the risk to have some adventure, learn something new, and then open up another way to your life, because
Yes.
that leads to my son, my oldest and youngest. They have a business together. They're entrepreneurs. And then the other, he's a family man. He got married young, has two babies. He's going to graduate from college, and that was paid for by his employer. And yes, I'm glad you did that. And really, our retreat, the purpose of our retreat is to help women who feel stuck when it comes to their creative expression. Our ideal attendee is someone who has either was active in visual, creative, performing, or literary arts once upon a time, and they've lost touch with it, and they realize there's something missing in their life because that's not part of who they are now. Or there are people who have always been interested in some form of creative or artistic expression and never felt that they could take the time to develop that side of themselves, that feminine flow of energy, that positive boost that a community of creatives can bring to them. So we're calling this, an elastic experience that is activating our imagination, activating our passion. And sometimes you just have to go on a retreat, unplug from the regular world, stop worrying about your family, your bills, your those stressors. No, take some time for a little self-care. Pay attention to who we are on the inside so that we can build up our family and be do better on the job after we've gotten refreshed and revitalized with when it comes to mindfulness, when it comes to our vision, and that believing and just trying on different forms of creative expression to see which one we're going to continue to pursue after that event. So I love how what you do ties in. And Carol, tell me about your art. It sounds like you went to school. You got a degree in the fine arts?
I did. I have a bachelor degree. So it's funny because I started as an artist at a very young age. I remember when I was 16, I think I had three commissioned from a very young age. And then I went, oh, I guess I'm good at this, but I really just loved it. Like it was just part of me. And then when it came to university, because I was naive, or I was, insecure at that age. And I just remember because I was a pianist, I played the piano for conservatory for many years, and I loved the art. And I didn't know I was the first one to go university, so I didn't know that you could have done a double major or something else. I just thought I had to make one choice. And I did. I chose fine arts, and I went to Langer College at the beginning because I spent the summer in Vancouver. As I wanted to leave the house, I wanted to discover what else was out there. I loved Vancouver. I decided to go for the art program. I told myself if they accept me, I'll stay here and finish that program. So it was a 2-year program. Then I transferred my credit to Concordia University in Montreal, and I did my bachelor degree there. Yes.
Lovely. And that must be a piece of yours, like the lion looking over the city behind
Oh,
you.
yes, it is. It is.
The
It's the
all those
lion,
Oh,
an eagle.
Carol,
eagle. And tell us about this picture and just your work in general, the messages and the media that you work with.
So a lot of my artwork is it didn't always start this way, but it really comes from at the beginning. It's like grounding myself up, and it's like I have a little ritual before I really start painting. And the way I do that is my father passed away when I was 15, and he was someone very dear to me. He was a musician. I have a lot of great memories of playing with him. Like, he would play the guitar, I would play the piano, and he was a bricklayer masonry. So I divide the canvas at the beginning, and sometimes I follow through with it, and sometimes I don't. But it's just like a meditation, getting myself. It's just a way to really. It's like the beginning. Sometimes like there's actors, there's something they do before they really do the performance. There's like a little thing. So that's what I do. I start dividing, and then I start painting. And sometimes I have a very, very clear vision in what I'm about to create, and sometimes I don't. And I just am working and studying and see developing what's going to happen. But what does matter about my art is that I decide there's a few things. So I decided at one point, as artists, we often go into the dark. It's very easy to go to the dark. And I didn't want to put out in the world, not that I'm making it wrong, but I went, that's an easy way for me to go. I want to push different. I want to put light into people's life. I want that when people look at my artwork, that there's an uplift, there's a vibration, or there's a movement that they get, because I really want them to be going for whatever matters to them. And so I wanted a different type of energy. So I had decided at one point in my life not to use certain colors of dark or black, just to really play to not go in that space. And then with that, I always So that was one of the things, and now I incorporate it, but it's used for a different way. It will be for composition or a different purpose of it. But then there's also symbols. I absolutely love symbols. I find it something as simple as an X, it will mean something so different either culturally. It might mean X makes the spot, like you're like that's where we're supposed to be. It might mean like do not come here. It could mean a kiss. It could mean there's so many, and it's just a letter like X-ray, or like there's so many meanings behind just something as simple as two lines put together as an X. And I love the simplicity of it, because and I love the play of that. And we see it in through our life all the time. Like I was driving not too long ago from Montreal, in the electricity lines. There was a whole bunch of X on the electricity line. I go, look, there's a whole bunch of kisses going to everyone's life and everyone's home.
Kisses.
So it's
Love
just
it,
my
love it,
visual
love
of
it.
where I see all the symbols that I see incorporating what they mean. So I love to play with that. But what's really important for me is that when people look at my artwork and they have, I really want to be, because everything matters when we're in a space. When we want, like your show is all about belief. So whenever or project, whatever we want to create, I want my piece of art to be part of what they believe in, to create for the next step. And that's what I work on and I work towards. So it could be, so this is really, it was inspired from my business, because the lion, is really, they go for their, their target, what they want to for meat, and they want to eat, and there's a vision. But then you have the ego that has a vision that can oversee everything. So I want to incorporate both of them together.
I love that. I love the theme. It's beautiful. And I tagged you on my Facebook page,
Oh,
also on LinkedIn, so that everyone who sees the posts that Francine, Heidi, and I are making can connect with you on whatever your favorite social media is. We have scrolling now our online community, Believe Retreat. I'm going to invite you there so that you can post and people can engage with you on the Believe Retreat webpage. And
thank
so, yes, thank you so much. So, Francine, why don't you tell me what you have coming up soon?
Well, as most of you know, I'm an author. And not only am I an author, but I'm also a franchisee of the publishing company. I love Perfect Publishing so much that I'm working with them now. And I want to start an anthology book. But I realize that a lot of creative painters and singers and artists don't think that they can write. Well, I'm here for you. On May 3rd in Jacksonville, for all of you Northeast Florida locals, I am going to be doing a workshop for aspiring authors who have a story that they're trying to get out, but something is blocking it, whether you don't think you're good enough, or who would want to read my story, or, well, I just can't write. And in doing this workshop, what I hope to do is give people the motivation and the confidence to join the anthology. I am looking for 25 creatives who want to write about their creative endeavors in a chapter in a book, become a best selling author. So when you go to sell your art, no matter what it is, you could say, look, I'm a best selling author. I wrote about my art. So if this interests you at all, I'm going to put the link in the comments to check it out. And if you're not in Jacksonville and you are interested, leave me a note, let me know, because I could bring this on Zoom to you. Just let me know that I want to do this workshop online, and I'll put that together too. So it's May 3rd at Into the Looking Glasses in Fleming Island from 9 to 2. And
Excellent.
Joanna, it is time to take us on out.
That's right. This is the last episode, episode number 24, before we take a 2-week hiatus, and we'll see you on April 15th. But just remember, if you can conceive it, you can believe it and therefore achieve it. So from the head
To the heart,
to the
to the
hands,
hands,
yes,
yes,
you
you
can.
can.
We'll see you in 2 weeks, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Carole Beauvais. This was
Thank
a
you.
fantastic conversation about art, family, and entrepreneurship. We hope you have a wonderful, terrific Tuesday. Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Bye.